There's an event known as Venomverse, where all of the Venoms across the entire multiverse come together to battle against a new villain. And it was fun. It was epic. It wasn't really thought-provoking, but you got to see a lot of Venoms kill things. But before they started that series, they had the Edge of the Venomverse series, in which we were introduced to a whole bunch of these new Venoms. Now, that was 5 single issues, and we did do the Wolverine one already, but you know what? I didn't want to let you wait. I didn't want to leave you sitting here. So today, we're going to cover 4 more issues of Edge of Venomverse. We're going to give you the Gwenpool, the Deadpool, the Ghost Rider, and Old Man Logan in this entire video. And if you subscribe, you'll get Venomverse next week sometime. This is Edge of Venomverse 2. What if Gwenpool had a Venom symbiote? Since coming into the comic book world, Gwen has used her vast knowledge of these worlds to make a name for herself, as well as even become the main character of her own series. She's made her money being a mercenary, except the only problem is with her powers. She doesn't have any, as she is shot to death by a group of drug dealers. That would have been the end of the story, if not for Gwen taking something from someone who wanted to get rid of it pretty badly. And that something just so happened to be a Venom symbiote. One of the men reports that they no longer have a problem, but Gwen gets back up, showing her claws, asking them, "Are you sure?" But before she can kill those men, a shuriken flies so that you're hitting Gwen in the shoulder, and she turns back to see the ninjas and says, "You know what? We would love to feast on ninjas." Her head begins to grow with more of the symbiote, and she begins to chomp down, eating everything that she can get her hands on. And as she continues killing everyone, one of the ninjas shouts they need to retreat, and they start throwing their smoke bombs. Venom sighs, "They're all gone!" And Gwen asks, "What, are you not full yet?" Then there's another voice that calls down to Gwen, Daredevil. She shouts, "It's you! It's really Daredevil!" And Matt Murdock tells her, "Yeah, and you are?" She says, Venompool? Gwenpool. I'm working on a name. Matt tells her, as much fun as beating up ninjas is, tonight they're going to have to try and figure out the larger situation that was the Hand's recent interest in drugs, which is now busted. He then sighs, telling her, "Well, there's always tomorrow. Nice to meet you, Monster Gwen." The next day, Gwen heads to the law firm that she applied to work at when she happens to see Matt Murdock sitting across the table. She dumps the paperwork for her boss, shouting, "Hi, Matt Murdock!" She takes her seat and begins to doodle while Matt explains that this firm's client facility produces a noxious and potentially hazardous substance that is spreading across a 5-block radius. Melville says that there is no evidence that anything that their client is working with is hazardous to humans. It's just hot sauce. As the two of them go back and forth, Gwen puts on the finishing touches to one of her drawings, and it's Matt Murdock as Daredevil because he's so hot. Venom then tells Gwen, "We should kill your boss. He's being mean to the cute boy that you like." And as Matt leaves, Melville asks if anything's wrong. Gwen snaps back, telling him, "Of course not." Melville then reaches down, grabbing the notes that Gwen was taking, telling her that he needs to get prepped just in case this actually does go to court. She smiles and nods and then realizes that she just handed her boss a sheet of paper that says Matt Murdock is Daredevil. Maybe she shouldn't have been doodling. She runs out of the office asking what she should do, and Venom says, "We should just kill him." And Gwen tells him, "I am trying not to do that." So Venom sighs, pulling the fire alarm. The entire office exits the building, and Melville shouts that he's gonna go work from home. He can't deal with this now. He gets into his car and he leaves, and Venom says, "We should go to his house and kill him there. We can then get the folder." Gwen says, "Just stop it. We don't need to go there right now." But as she leaves, Matt Murdock spots her and starts to follow. A short while later, Gwen makes it to her boss's apartment to find him going through the paperwork. Venom shouts, "Just kill him! Save the cute lawyer devil! We are hungry." The mask begins to wrap back around Gwen, and she says, "Well, he is a terrible boss." But just before she can jump in, Matt punches her and says that he's starting to think that she's actually a serial killer. She swings back, telling him, "You don't understand, I'm trying to protect you." And as the two of them struggle, Gwen throws Matt inside of the apartment, and Melville shouts, "To me, my ninja." Gwen says, "Wait, what?" And Matt tells her, "You'll see." A few seconds later, the Hand and ninjas appear, and Gwen says, "Of course! My boss is actually evil." While Matt and Gwen start taking out the ninjas, Melville grabs a gun from his desk and he fires it at Matt Murdock. Gwen quickly creates a shield to block the shot, but in turn, it's reflected back, hitting Melville in the chest. He begins to fall backwards, crashing through his window, and then Gwen swoops up the doodle, revealing who Matt Murdock's identity really is, before anyone has a chance to notice that she did it. Matt looks around and says that they should probably go, and Gwen says that's probably a good idea. And a short while later, along the rooftops, Matt says that this is not among his ideas of how he thought his secret identity would be in jeopardy. She nervously laughs, and Matt hops off the ledge, stating, "Duty calls. Maybe we'll see each other again next time in a bad guy thing. Thanks for trying not to kill anyone." She tries to contain her excitement that Matt implied that they might see each other again, and Venom says, "Look, it was good that your boss died. This is what we wanted." And then Matt returns, stating, actually, I don't see any reason why we can't patrol together. Venom begins to hiss, telling him, I don't like this. Something doesn't feel right. And Gwen tells him, just relax. What's the worst that can happen? As she follows Matt around the corner, Venom tells her, run before, and the two of them are teleported away. Moments later, Matt climbs back up the building stating, actually, I just thought about something. Maybe we should patrol together. But that's when he discovers that Gwen is already gone. Next up is issue 3. What if Ghost Rider got it? Over at the Shield facility, Dr. Calvin Zabo, the mutagenic drug dealer, is getting ready to be transported to another jail. The officer tells everyone that he has an incriminating testimony, so there will be plenty of people trying to make this as difficult as possible. As soon as the convoy leaves, the officer spots someone ready to shoot them with a rocket launcher, and they immediately engage. Explosions begin to go off, and the officer on the side says, that didn't take very long for that to start. Calvin laughs, telling him, what can I say? I'm an extremely popular biosadist. Outside of the truck, it's become a complete war zone as every villain across the city is trying to capture Calvin. One, though, jumps down, slamming one of the trucks, shouting, come chase my man-hugs of doom! Calvin asks, is that a tentacled Yeti in a red mask? And the officer says, uh-huh. So Calvin then says, Octosquatchpool! And the officer tells him that is the nastiest sounding name that she has ever heard. Just then, a fiery wheel drives over one of the villains, and the current Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, along with the Venom symbiote, shouts, more heat! While killing everyone with his chain and flail, Venom shouts, such sinewy sense. Venom then hooks his chains up, lifting the car onto the convoy, letting it eat the flying monkey men. Octosquatchpool shouts to Venom, I have kill cuddles for everyone, and he smashes another truck. Venom then turns to save the officers flung from the truck and then uses them to beat Octosquatchpool. Venom then tries to wrap Octosquatchpool up while the last of the convoy speeds by running them over. The truck spins out crashing, and just as Calvin says, I think I'm getting a migraine, Venom rips open the hatch, telling him, boom. The officer jumps out of the truck with Calvin telling Venom, I would like to thank you for defeating Octosquatchpool. I'm pretty sure you didn't mean to concuss my men. But before she can finish, Venom opens his mouth, letting his tongue wrap around the officer's neck, shouting, silence, be still or be tasted. A few moments later, Venom pulls his tongue back and says, fixations of justice, moral balance, basic human goodness, disgusting. And he smacks her away, and Calvin gets back up asking, what are you? Venom shouts, once upon a time, there was a boy named Robbie Reyes who was possessed by a fiend. In his limited way, he worked with a parasite, serving the greater good. But with all of his luck, a second fiend found him, and now he is our host, the Rider. As Venom talks, he sniffs the air and he tells Calvin, you don't smell afraid. Why is that, we wonder? Calvin grins as he has an ace up his sleeve. He has a feeling in his bones. And Venom says, you must be referring to the deal that you made with that mercenary known as Crossbones. He was to swoop in and come to the rescue, right? Robbie's car burps, regurgitating Crossbones' half-ingested body. And Venom tells you, how do you think we found you? Calvin turns and begins to run, but before he can get very far, Venom chains him up, and Robbie breaks out, telling him, please, don't kill the innocents! Venom pulls him back in, telling him, don't worry, we've come for his sin! Venom holds Calvin close and performs the penance kiss, sucking the sin out of Calvin and tossing his body to the side. The car starts to eat up the discarded body, and then Venom begins to feel something. Suddenly, he's pulled apart and teleported away, and as his body reappears, he shouts, who dares abduct me? And Steve Rogers tells him, ask not what your symbiote can do for you, but what you can do for your symbiote. Now it's time for issue 4. What if old man Logan got a Venom symbiote? Off in the wastelands, the young Bruce Banner beats down on Logan, asking how he could keep this from him. Logan tries to tell him wait, but as Bruce kicks him again, he shouts, it's been 15 years of lies. You're the one who killed my father. Bruce Banner Jr. walks away and Logan tells him, come back. And Bruce tells him, I don't care anymore. I want you dead now. The morning sun begins to shine in as Logan wakes up from the same nightmare in the drunken haze. Without so much as a word, the door to the motel room is kicked in and Warren, the man that was formerly known as Angel, steps in. A little while passes and Logan starts to come to the realization that he's in a truck and then he sees Warren again. He shouts that he thought he was dead, and Warren says, not quite. I've been looking for you after what happened at the mansion. Logan groans, telling him, I spent the last 70 years trying to forget that mansion. After Red Skull, the Hulk gang, I finally moved on. Logan then stops and asks him, where the hell are we going anyway? Where have you been? Warren tells him that he disappeared. He figured Red Skull would come back for another wing, and then he heard he was killed. But now there's a new crop of young mutants being trained, the new X-Men in the making, and he had to see it for himself. He goes on stating that there's also something that he found out about his son. They're gonna go see him now. Logan shouts, that's impossible. I saw his body with my own eyes. Now stop the truck! After asking a few more times and not listening, Warren pulls up to Xavier's old mansion in Westchester. The two get out and they walk towards the building as Logan says that he never really wanted to come back here. It looks like hell. This is the place where Red Skull used me to kill everyone. Cyclops, Jubilee, Beast, and the kids, all of them. Logan walks through the door shouting, Scotty! And then suddenly Warren springs out a mechanical wing and throws the blades into Logan's back. He tells him that they are going to make this place his tomb. Now this time he won't be leaving. A little while later, Logan opens his eyes and he sees Bruce, Hawkeye's daughter Ashley, and Warren staring right back at him. After realizing the situation, he shouts, What the hell is this? Bruce steps up, telling him, After the night that I learned what really happened to my father, I found out that not only did you have my family taken away, but you took away my entire empire. Logan shouts, It was an empire of evil. And Bruce yells back at him, But it was my birthright. Ashley then steps up, telling him, Bruce's journey landed him on her doorstep, and they shared a common interest. Warren had his own reasons for joining. Ashley reaches out, grabbing Logan's face, telling him, You've made a lot of enemies. And I've been looking forward to this since you and my deadbeat dad killed my men and crushed my operation. Logan says, Clint just wanted to bring you home. And Ashley snaps back, Hawkeye was old and washed up, just like you. But now, you're gonna help me get it all back. Bruce laughs, telling him, That's right. You're about to be swallowed up and spit back out, and then we're gonna use your DNA to make Wolverine clones. A worried look comes over Logan's face, and he asks, Do you really think this is the first attempt to clone me? Ashley then shouts for Warren to open the door, and across the room, a giant metal door slides open. She creates a web whip and cracks it, causing the symbiote-covered devil dinosaur to come out. He gathers all of his strength to break free from the web bindings, and Ashley laughs, webbing his hands together again, telling him, Tell Hawkeye hello for me. Logan shouts, You're gonna see him before I will, and then he pulls on the webbing, flinging Ashley towards him. As soon as she flies by Devil Dinosaur opens up, chomping down on her. Logan then starts to run towards Devil Dinosaur, and he jumps up, stabbing into his eyes. He whips around, knocking Logan off, and then he bites down, swallowing Logan whole. Bruce watches and says, Looks like we're done for now. And Warren asks, Shouldn't we check to make sure that he's dead? Bruce tells him, Nah, we have to wait for the symbiote enzymes to bond with his DNA. It'll be a few days, we'll come back. Just then, the devil dinosaur groans, and the symbiote starts to suck into its mouth. Moments later, the symbiote-infused Logan rips out a devil dinosaur's stomach and lunges at Bruce and Warren. Warren shouts that the symbiote must have sensed his healing factor. Logan then pulls back a claw, telling Bruce, You're weak. Your father, the Bruce that I knew, would be ashamed of what you become. Bruce hulks out, grabbing Warren by his wings, throwing him towards Logan, telling him, This is our chance. As Logan and Warren begin to fight, Bruce makes his escape through the back, and Warren kicks Logan back, shouting, You've always been a killer. This is for all the innocent lives you've taken. His metal wing unfolds, and more blades shoot out towards Logan, but this time the symbiote catches them, throwing them back. A blade sticks into Warren, and Venom tells Logan, That's it. Just feed on that rage. We better hurry. We don't want the little brat to get away. Logan hurries down the hallway to catch up with Bruce, and as he does, Bruce reaches out, grabbing Logan, slamming him into a wall. Bruce grips down on Logan's throat, telling him, I'm gonna finish what you started. And the tendrils of Venom creep out, and Logan says, Yes, it is time for us to end this. And he kicks Bruce in the back. The tendrils wrap around Bruce's neck, and Venom shouts, That's it. Kill the boy. Logan pulls his face out of the symbiote and shouts, No, I can't do this. He's like a son to me. And a black portal opens up behind Logan, and Logan goes on, stating, I kept the truth away from you because I loved you. The portal closes, and he went missing. And that's when Steve Rogers told Old Man Logan, That's real sweet of you. But now man up. We got a war to win. And now it's time for the last issue of Edge of Venomverse, issue 5. What if Deadpool got it back? As Wade Wilson sits in a tree eating a tapeworm-infested apple, he says, We found tapeworm larvae in fossilized feces of a dinosaur shark. That prehistoric shark poop, full of little bundles of parasitic joy. True story. So here I am, hoping that nobody goes poking around my BMs, 270 million years from now. He tosses the apple and tells the owl that he was next to, It's good to have this nice chat. I gotta get to work, though. He jumps up and climbs up into Ripley Diagnostics building, stating, Peekaboo! Turns out the naughty doctor doesn't want to share his new toys with the Pentagon. Wait, did I just say doctor? I meant parasitologist. Augmented biological symbiotes. Icky stuff. He starts to look around and he sees one Dr. Scott appear and he says, You really need to work on your lurching. Anyway, what's the haps, craps? Cat got your tongue. Tapeworms begin to extend from the doctor's mouths, and Wade cuts off Dr. Scott's head, telling him, I never kiss on the first date. The head flies off and the worms reach out, grabbing it and reattaching it. And so Wade says, that is easily the grossest thing that I've seen all day. Well, actually, maybe like within the top 3 of the grossest things I've seen all day. The doctor shuffles forward, telling Wade, We are now your masters. And Wade says, Haha, this has been fun, but it's probably time that the tapeworms get back in the jar. Dr. Scott leaps forward, grabbing Wade, letting the tapeworms crawl onto him, and that's when Wade notices a jar on the shelf. He looks at it, and it says, Venom Symbiote, and he sings, Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to bond with you again. He punches the glass, and the moment that he does, the symbiote begins to wrap itself around Wade. Suddenly, with a burst of energy, the doctors are thrown aside, and Wade stands up shouting, "Now that's what I'm talking about!" He begins to pull the tapeworms out of his skin, stating, "This tapeworm detox is something else." He looks back at Dr. Scott, and then he grabs his leg, throwing him into the others. Dr. Scott's head begins to crawl away, stating, "We have been released. We are Legion. We are!" And Wade stomps on the head, telling him, "You need a little less monologuing, more squishing." After a bit of investigating, Wade sets out to St. McCready Hospital to hunt down the rest of the bad guys. But first, he needed to make sure that he flushed out the rest of the tapeworms from his system. As he swung by the hospital to find the doctors in the middle of a parasitic liver transplant, he breaks through the window, shouting for them to stop! Oh, wait, I'm too late, huh? The patient on the table jumps up at Wade, knocking him down, and then Wade pushes back on the patient, pulling the parasite out. The parasite then grabs Wade, throwing him into the defibrillator, and Wade reaches for it, stating, "I wish I knew how to quit you." He takes the defibrillator and shocks himself, shocking the parasites off, and says, "Man, I felt that one on the gonards." The parasite then jumps back into the patient and begins to run out, and Wade shouts, "Wade, come back with that meat suit!" He bursts through the doors, and other patients that have been a part of the transplant project come out of the rooms. Wade tries to fight back the parasites, but with so many of them, the tapeworms begin to slither down his throat. Inside of Wade's body, the tapeworms begin to make their way to his heart, and they begin biting and chewing away at it. Then the black goop shouts out, grabbing and pulling the worms off. Wade begins to cough up the worms, stating, "I've never felt so violated before," and that is saying something. One of the tapeworms begin to crawl over towards a nurse, so Wade grabs it and throws it against a wall, shouting, "Not so fast." He then turns back to the other infected and begins eating and killing them, stating, "It is so good to be us again." With the parasites destroyed, he says, "You complete us." The nurse from before, still not knowing what is going on, takes the bone saw and cuts off Wade's arm, screaming. As he waves his nub, spraying blood at the nurse, he shouts, "Hey, hey, why are the good guys here?" As the nurse flails and screams as she runs away, Wade says, "A simple thank you, Wade, I love you, Wade, hold me, Wade would have been nice." He reattaches his arm, stating how about him and the symbiote go do what heroes do, and be heroic. He goes across the hospital delivering babies, making balloon animals out of tapeworms, and helping the elderly. And after his services are rendered, Wade looks at the window stating, "Man, saving lives, inspiring minds, filleting tapeworms. Our job is done here." He jumps out the window and a black portal opens, grabbing him and pulling him through. As he falls through it into the now destroyed city, he hears a voice telling him to get up. He jumps up shouting to give him one good reason not to rip his head off and eat it with great poupon. Steve's voice tells him there's a war going on and we're going to need all the help that we can get. Wade reaches up to grab Steve's hand, telling him, "Well, when you put it that way, sign me up, Sarge." Steve helps Wade up, telling him, "Actually, it's Captain." There you have it. Now that we've had all 4 of these and the Wolverine one, which I will link down below, which of these Venoms is your favorite? You have all these wonderful options of Venoms to pick from. And next week when we do Venomverse, you'll have a lot more to pick from. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that next week. You can also follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian to get single tweet reviews, where I pretty much post my opinion of a comic book in 140 characters right after I read it. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Comicstorian, where we're putting some of the best panels from the comic books up so you guys can give us your opinions on those as well. I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.